Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And wow, I didn't think we could top last week's show, but I'll tell you what, this one, whoo, it's got some politics going up in Madison County, Indiana, which is the Anderson, Alexandria area. And I think you'll be shocked at what the heck goes on behind some of these closed doors in these political parties. So tune in here and watch this, buckle up and giddy up because it's going to be on here in a second. So let's get to things. Okay. Hey, Catherine, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Good evening. How are you?
I'll tell you what, this has been interesting putting this story together. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right to it.
Well, I'm Dr. Catherine Callahan. I'm a doctor-prepared nurse practitioner. I own a medical practice in LaPel, Indiana. I've been there for 10 years. We have over 9,000 patients. I'm the former chief deputy for Madison County.
I'm going to bring on Charles Bookwalter first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what the heck are you doing on the Mouthwash panel?
Sure. Thanks, John. I just want to compliment you on your platform that you've developed here. John, it's very impressive. I live in Boone County, Indiana. I live in a small community called Thorntown, Indiana. We live on a small 30-acre homestead. We homestead. I like to say we do three things. We homestead, we homeschool, and we home church. Although I've been called on that. We also go to church. We don't just stay at home and do church. I'm happily married, my wife Beverly, and we have three beautiful girls, 8, 8, and 7. We on our homestead, we have an apiary, so we raise bees, chickens, rabbits, pigs, and we've raised our own vegetables. I served 10 years as an Army Green Beret in the Special Forces. I was a medic on my detachment, so that's a year-long training of medical training where I delivered babies, did C-section. I did all kinds of medicine, trauma medicine, all kinds of different medicine.
That's great. So now I'm going to bring on Brad. Brad, thanks for coming on, and you're a brave soul for coming on as a Democrat, but you don't seem too awful worried about it, do you?
No, it was funny when you said I came back for the punishment, or I missed it. One of my best friends, she says that I'm a glutton for punishment. So this show's like right up my alley, I guess.
Now we're going to bring out Lucy.
I am. And because we don't have Tiffany here, I have another beautiful black woman behind me, and she's got a gun. So
I thought that was Tiffany. I thought that was Tiffany shooting some stuff.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, those two people on the street. So I was actually able to go out and do the peeps on the streets. And these are, I think, 4 millennials and 1 Gen Z. So, and I had to remind them, I'm a baby boomer, that, baby boomers have 12 times more wealth than a millennial. And I told them if they give me too much sass, I'm going to pass all my stuff on to my grandkids, the Gen Zers. So let's go ahead and watch these peeps on the streets here, and then we'll be ready to get this thing going.
This is John Schmitz for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics down here at the Mallow Run Winery down near Waverly, Indiana. And we're going to ask the folks down here having some fun watching a band and drinking some wine what they think about party politics. All right, do you think that the two major political parties in Indiana have too much power?
I do.
Do you think that the two major political parties pick our candidates for us and we really don't have much input?
I think so.
Final question, what do you think we can do about it? As a voter, what do you think you can do about it?
Not much. I think we can just hold on, hope, and pray for all the good.
Do you think that the two major political parties in Indiana have too much power?
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that these parties are picking our candidates without taking into consideration your opinion?
I would say so.
As a voter, what do you think we can do about this?
Ask me first.
Do you think that the two major political parties in Indiana have too much power?
It definitely seems that way. Yes, I would say so.
Do you feel like, as a voter, do you feel like you have a big choice of who runs, or do you think that maybe the parties are picking these candidates really without your input?
I mean, it does seem like they're kind of handpicked.
What do you think you as a voter, what do you think you could do to help maybe remedy this situation?
I would say that people in the community definitely need to get more involved. and more than just voting, get out and be more a part of their community and have their voices heard.
So in other words, get involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think the major political parties in Indiana have too much power?
Yes.
All right. Do you think that the two major parties pick our candidates for us without our consideration?
Absolutely.
All right. You as a voter, what do you think you can do about it?
I always say I just keep voting. Because I feel like there's not much else I can do, which is frustrating. Yeah.
Okay. I know you're not old enough to vote yet, but do you think that the two major political parties in Indiana have too much power?
Yes.
Do you think that they pick our candidates for us without even considering what our thoughts are?
Yep.
You as a non-voter, what do you think we can do about that someday?
Just stand up against it. Don't let it happen.
That's a wrap for Peeps on the Streets down here at the Mallow Run Winery. Let's see what the panel has to say about this.
All right. So there you go. I mean, even the babes, the younger people know that there's something wrong with this system we have. So Catherine?
It's interesting when you ask these people if our political parties have too much power. Well, they've got too much control. And I don't know that power, it's that they just have too much control. And I'll give you a prime example. So I decided in 2022 that I would run for a state delegate seat. It's really not a power position in the county. It's really doesn't really do a whole lot, right? But I thought I'd run for that and help Diego Morales. And I thought, well, I'll run for state delegate. Well, Russ decided that this was such a catastrophe that he challenged me because I had only voted in one race. Now, you've got a Republican candidate who's doctorate prepared, a 50-year-old female, owns her own business, is a great role model for the community and women, and he blocks me. But I'm the only one. Now, he didn't have a problem. He didn't have a problem on signing off on 6 Democrats and letting them run as Republicans, one of which has been a Democrat for 40-some years and has never voted Republican, and let him run up in Alexandria. Now, I don't have anything against the guy, but he seems like a nice guy. But the fact is that we've got all these people who are Democrats now running as Republicans. Now, if you saw me on the news on Wish Channel 8 about 4 months ago when OSHA came in and fined this county $22,000, I was the whistleblower. That was me. I had no running water at my morgue. I had no gloves. I had no equipment because we weren't going to fund our office. We didn't even have a place to secure bodies in the event that it was a criminal case. We were just going to throw them over at the hospital and anybody could just get to them. What's the big deal? The body's a chain of custody. So what did they get me? They got me a semi-trailer. So for 8 months in the cold, the rain, the snow, we threw bodies in the back of a semi-trailer. Now I've done mission trips in Haiti. I've done mission trips in Honduras. I've worked in worse places than you could even imagine, but nothing was as bad as this.
Go ahead, Lucy.
Thank you for coming forward. I guess everything you said is astounding. My question is, what day did we all wake up and end up in the banana republic that we're in right now?
Well, it's even better now. I shove them in a beer cooler. That's what they got. I shove them. And here's the craziest thing.
Loved ones are in a beer cooler.
Yes. And here's the craziest thing. This office is a constitutional office. But what did Commissioner Richwine and Commissioner Likens do? They came in, they took control, they entered into contracts to buy these coolers, didn't take any input from the coroners whatsoever. Well, when I brought Officer Shanadez home in that mess, I couldn't do it anymore. And I gave them 18 months to clean this up with OSHA. They chose not to clean this up.
Our government is supposed to operate with dignity and respect for these folks. And what the problem is I see here is that not only are they not doing that, but they're not helping someone who wants to do that. So Charles, what are you hearing here?
What am I hearing? Great question, John. So I was asked that question the other day. What am I hearing when I'm out on the campaign trail? And I've got a question for you, Catherine, but here's what I'm hearing. When people say what their biggest grievance is right now with what's going on in Indiana and politics, it is that the Republican Party has lost touch. and does not represent them anymore. And it's not just the people that I've heard that from. I have also heard that from people within the party, like party chairs and other people that have addressed big groups and said the elected Republican Party has lost touch with the voter. And here's my question for you, Catherine. Now that you've got involved and you're running for delegate or whatever, do you know how many people or a percentage of the precinct committeemen within your community were appointed by the party chair?
How many people are appointed? How many are elected in the precinct? Do you know that for the last week, I've been asking our county chair for a list of delegates?
And you
do you know what? I'm not allowed to have that.
Yeah.
So now finally he says to me, well, you have one, don't you? I said, well, I do, but it's from 2020. So are you telling me nothing's changed on this list? He goes, no, some people have died. Some people aren't there. I said, so can I have a new one? No. So tonight when I gave him my paperwork and I asked I need a current list. Well, I'll email that to you when I get a chance. Well, I'm 5 days from a caucus and I have nothing. I mean, I have an old one. And so I can't tell you that.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to get Brad a question, and we have a bit of your recorded conversation this morning, and we'll play some of that. And so Brad, you're a resident of Madison County up there, and you just sent me a message. You wanted some more information on this because you weren't up on that. What are you learning tonight?
I'm learning a lot. I had a couple questions. So you're wanted to become coroner for Madison County still?
Yes. The driving force is because our dead deserve more than being thrown in a beer cooler on a rock gravel floor.
When we got the fines, when the fines came down from the state, did the county council just disregard them then? Or, I mean, have we paid them?
So the commissioners tried to push this back on the coroner's office. Well, anybody will tell you, what can the coroner's office do? It's not our equipment. I can't fix equipment that doesn't belong to me. They signed the contract. It's their cooler. The commissioners need to fix it.
Getting an idea of how much discourse there is between commissioners and another office. And that disturbs me that they can't. I mean, it's like Zionsville mayor suing her council to get stuff done. That is not productive. And this just seems like a very frustrating case. And it's not like we have an intangible object here. This is about dignity and respect for our citizens that have fallen. This is a phone call between Catherine, you had this morning, and I have your permission. You're the person who recorded it. Actually, Russ Wheeler says he wants royalties, so he did answer back. He did refuse to make any comments on this, but if he wants to, we'd sure give him the same amount of time. I find that a lot of these folks, ignoring is their best policy. So let's get to this because I know a few folks want to hear it, but here you go for this.
Hello.
Hi, Russ.
Yeah.
Hello, Russ. This is Catherine Callahan.
Uh-huh.
I'm just calling because I need to get you the paper for the caucus for the coroner.
Okay.
How do I go about doing that?
Well, we can connect somewhere.
Okay. I mean, my office is always open. I mean, it's open to the public, so you're welcome to come here. I'm more than happy to come to the county building. I mean, wherever you want me to bring it to you. I mean, I can do it this morning, which I'm happy to do that. I don't have patients until noon. So if you want me to just do it this morning, if you're in town, I can do that. Just tell me what you want to do, because I know it has to be to you within 72 hours of the caucus.
Right. Yeah. Right now, you cannot file that because your voter registration is pending because you changed your voter registration. It goes into a 7-day pending. So you cannot file the paperwork until that voter registration pending time goes off.
He didn't seem too enthused about helping you. Am I off on that?
No, you are exactly correct. I am the last person that he would want running in this caucus.
Okay, so Catherine, what did you find out after this call? What did you end up finding out that really wasn't quite all the truth? I mean, he wasn't
So
lying, but he just wasn't telling all the truth.
I got a text that says, Catherine, read this. And it says, if the voter receives the acknowledgement notice by delivery from the U.S. Postal Service and presents that notice to the county voter registration office in person before the expiration of the 7-day period, the county voter registration office shall change the record to indicate that the applicant is now an active voter and officially registered to vote at that address, even though the 7-day period has not yet expired. Indiana Code 3-7-33-5F. But why wouldn't the Republican chair tell me that right in the beginning instead of having me run around with my head cut off?
I know. It's a club and you ain't in it.
So here's what he said. We can get together sometime Friday after 12 noon and see if it's active then. Well, your piece of paper has to be in the council or the chairperson's hand within 72 hours of the caucus. So where do you think we were going with this one? We were going to make
he
sure.
was just trying to sucker you in.
Right? So what's even more interesting is that I asked Russ Willis, I said, who is our county election administrator? He said, that position doesn't exist. I said, what do you mean it doesn't exist? On the voter registration page on the state side, it says, if you find that your status is incorrect, you can contact your county election administrator. He said, it doesn't exist. Really? So the state is putting things on there that's going to mislead all of us. He's over in Applebee's, so I go over and take him the paper. And he says, I can't accept this paper. I said, why can't you accept the paper? He said, because the original seal's not here. I said, well, you see the stamp on there? I've already put the original one in the election office. Well, that's just not going to work. I'm not going to take this from you. You're going to have to go get this certified because even though that's all on here, that's no good. I said, so the original document that's in the election office is no good. Nope. It has to come to me. And if it doesn't come to me, it doesn't matter where it's at. So I had to run around and get a notary. After 6 o'clock in the evening, I was able to get one. And then I had to go meet him again to give him the stamp of it.
I want to get to Mark Small. He explains a little bit about how they are able to have this power or control or power and control. So now I have it all queued up. So let's listen to Mark Small, and he's going to talk about these corporations, these evil corporations.
Hi, Mark Small. This is Small Talk. We were raised to believe that ours is an open political system. For example, if you're eligible to vote, you should be able to run for political office. Now, we have two major political parties here in the state of Indiana. They've kind of divvied things up in terms of the laws. So they get to determine to a great degree who's going to be on the ballots for the primary. The Republican Party does not publish its bylaws. At least I've requested them twice. I'm an elected precinct committee person here in Marion County. I've never even gotten a response to that. But the point is, the United States Revolution, one of the early acts is the Boston Tea Party, in which the East India Tea Company, one of the largest corporations in the world, was the subject of people all dressing up like indigenous peoples and tossing tea into Boston Harbor. People back then viewed corporations dimly. You didn't have like a broad charter. You had to have specific statements of what you were trying to do through the corporation. Today, corporations have rights under Citizens United. That means that corporations don't even have to tell you who owns them. And that's scary, especially when you've got what amounts to a closely held corporation in the Republican Party here in Indiana. I don't know what the Democrats do. I'm a member of the Republican Party. And we've always been a progressive party until the last 40 years or so. But the point is, if you can't know what's going on within that corporation, how can you know who's running it? And under Citizens United, you can't ask who owns the shares. So they shouldn't even be able to tell people that can't run. You got to have one primary. Oh, you haven't voted in one primary before? You have. Well, make it 5. Who cares? They're not the ones running the country, or at least they're not supposed to be. The state or even the county. Mark Small, Small Talk.
Yeah, and if you want to know, Mark Small has voted in the last 2 Republican primaries, so he is legitimate for everything. And Charles, I'm going to let you jump in here because I think I think you talked about this two primary rule a little bit, and uh, it and for I just found out today that the federal court ruled against the Libertarians and the Green Party about the 2% rule to be for ballot access. It had been carried over from last year, and today the federal judge says it is constitutional for these parties to require 2% of the Secretary of State's vote to keep you as a minor party. So you didn't win. You didn't win that battle. But are you fighting them in court about this thing right now to this day, Charles?
Yes, we're waiting to hear about our transfer. We argued this case in front of the trial court, where they said it was moot because the election had passed. So we filed with the appellate court where they held it, and they had the same stance position that the election had passed. They just don't want to make a decision on it. When they removed me from the ballot, they did not remove me from the ballot as running on the ballot as a delegate. So I was on the ballot in 2022 as running for delegate to the Republican Party, but they challenged my candidacy as to run as a congressman. So, how can I be a different person that I'm not a Republican or I don't meet the qualifications to run for one office, but I can the other?
I know the answer, Charles. I don't want to interrupt. We got to keep moving. I know the answer. They missed it. So
well, perhaps
they look at this shiny object over here. They forgot this little other thing over there. That's exactly what happened. And it seems like, and I want to extend this offer to anyone else in a smaller county and another county that's maybe experiencing this. Hey, we'd love to have you as a guest on the show, because I'm finding that there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. I think this goes, I'm going to even say a dirty little secret for a lot of years. I'm going to play part 2 of this. And this sort of, we're going to tie this one up a little bit with our forensic foreplay, which is about this Steve Sumner that has on the run. And up in Alexandria, Steve Sumner knew Suzanne Morphew, or Barry Morphew, and they were buddies. And then she's somebody that went missing 3 Mother's Days ago on supposedly a bike ride. And this guy, Steve Sumner, was a commissioner up there. So we're gonna
county councilman. He was a county councilman.
But let's go ahead and listen to part 2 of this thing, which will. And Catherine got a little dig in on him, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it here. So here you go.
Catherine, it's the law, okay? I cannot accept your filing until your 7-day pending expires.
But you said it could go earlier than 7 days, correct?
No. Have you gotten the postcard confirmation?
Yes, I have got that.
Okay.
I got that. What day was that? Saturday?
Wow.
Yeah, Saturday. I got that Saturday.
Wow, U.S. Mail finally performed.
Yeah, so I got that Saturday. That's why I thought I was okay.
No, well, they have to wait. The system has to wait to see if that postcard is returned, which then kicks it in that they throw it out because it's a bad address. So it's in the process, okay? But it can't happen until Friday.
All right, well, then we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. What was with your poke about me meeting Steve Sumner in Wyoming or Montana?
Well, he's in Montana. And so they just had a big thing of it, and they asked, does anybody know his whereabouts? And I mean, they're pretty close together, so that's why it wasn't a poke. It was like, do you know where he's at? Because nobody seems to know where he's at. I mean, I would imagine that if, somebody of my friend and I was close to them was somewhere and I'm out on a vacation, they would say, hey, do you know where this guy's at too? So I didn't look at it as a poke. I mean, that's a question like, everybody's asking. So has anybody asked you? So I asked the question.
I wanted to reply back and say, you need to check your geography because, Wyoming and Montana is not close to Texas, because everything I've read said something about Texas.
So apparently he doesn't follow it, but he knows it's all about Texas. I'm sorry, but it is, if you listen to him talk, he will call himself out. Brad, I want to get back to you.
So are there other candidates for the coroner that are going to accept the fines and accept the way the commissioners have been doing things? And if not, what is the solution from the commissioners.
So what they're going to do is they're going to come in and change the salary, which we have fought so hard to keep it at $9.45 an hour, but they want to take it even to a lower amount and say, well, you're on call, so you're going to be paid $2 an hour. And then if you get called in and you have a case, then we'll pay you $50 or we'll pay you $100. And so, cases can go on for days and weeks and months. I mean, they just don't just end. And trying to find out, why is our crime rate? Why are people dying? What's the overdoses like? What's happening here? We're going to actually pay coroners less. Now, we have to be certified. We have to have continuing education. Well, they don't want to give us money in that line item either.
One of the things is, I know OSHA fines can be appealed. Were they able to appeal these?
So I haven't had the follow-up yet, but I'm told that the coroners now have, one of those water stations that you have at the state fair, and you go over there and you can wash your hands. That's what we've got now out there by the cooler. But I will tell anybody who's never experienced the coroner's office, McDonough Hayes did an outstanding job with the means they had to work with. I will give them that. And seeing that, stepping back now, they did do a phenomenal job. They had the same problems we had. They asked for money. They were denied. So they encountered the same, but I think they were just tired too. I mean, you get that way. You just get exhausted. The office, they used to do about 200, 250 cases before COVID. Now you're up in the scales of 500 to 600. It's a crazy busy office. It is a daunting process. So whoever gets this seat is in for a ride, because it is overwhelming.
This is a very interesting process. I mean, on one hand, we have a coroner's office that needs updated, needs some help, needs some assistance. On the other hand, we have I'm going to just say, a good old boys network on the other side of things that sounds like they've done stuff on the cheap for a while. And, it's time to start forking out some cash.
People, we've got to do the right thing. We've got to do the right thing. We've got to put the most qualified candidate into a position. So if for whatever reason I lose this caucus, because I know I am the most qualified and I have a proven track record, 2024 will be the change in this county, because Bethany Keller took out their boy Alexander. Jody took out their boy Pete Hewer. It's coming. The wave is coming in Madison County.
And that'll do it for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. I'm glad you could tune in, Channel 40 viewers, and we hope that you'll come back next week, same time, 11 p.m., right here on Channel 40 WHMB.